everyone! The day I have been dreading for months is here. Another episode of The Worst of the Obscure. If you haven't been here before, I am on a mission to find the most baffling, most incoherent dumpster fire puppet shows and films out there. Why, you ask? Well, why not? Someone's gotta do it. Also, I have pretty bad taste in things, so the bar is pretty low, and it takes a lot for me to dislike something. So far, I've watched the religious puppet special In Search of Dudley Dumpling and the 90s monster flick Galgameth, and today we're heading down a brand new path, one of ventriloquism. And boy oh boy, today is quite possibly the worst of the obscure that I have ever seen. Jerry Lane, who has the same two names as the two original leading musicians of Alice in Chains, into the flood again, same old trip it was back then, was a ventriloquist who was active from the 1950s well into the 2000s. You can find a very early video of 18-year-old Jerry doing some ventriloquism on the television competition program Ted Mack's Original Amateur Hour in 1956, of which he won. You can find a lot of his later live performances online, and I just have to say that they're fantastic, and I really enjoyed watching them. He is really, really talented.
That's it. What's his name? Chester. Does he talk? Say, how do you do? How do you do? Wait a minute, that voice out of him, how come? It's the only one you got left.
He was mentored by Paul Winchell, a very famous ventriloquist. Winchell was probably the most prominent ventriloquist of the 1950s to 1970s, apart from Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. Winchell had his very own television show, guest starred on many different television shows as a puppeteer, and later in life became a very prominent voice actor, voicing roles such as Tigger in Winnie the Pooh and Gargamel in The Smurfs. Jerry and Paul had a mentorship and friendship that lasted for many years. But I digress. Jerry Lane was most notable for creating and starring in the children's quiz show Puppet People. The show ran on Saturday mornings on CTV in Canada at 11 a.m. for 2 years, from September 1971 to 1973. The show was produced at CTV's Montreal affiliate station, CFCF-TV. Puppet People was hosted by Jerry, produced and directed by Sidney Cohen, and featured the puppets Lester and Herbie. The puppets were created by Don Keller, and unfortunately I cannot find a single picture nor clip of this show. Jerry afterwards ultimately became a predominantly live ventriloquist performer, mainly working on cruise ships and other live venues like a residency at Knott's Berry Farm. He also popped up on shows every once in a while like The Love Boat or Police Squad and Three's Company 2. After 1983 until about... There's not much info available on what he was up to, but I found one thing, and it's quite possibly the lowest point in his career. Something so mind-bogglingly atrocious that I was shocked such a well-versed and notable ventriloquist could bomb this hard. So, let's talk about Magic Star Traveler. I'm aboard a Magic Star Ride, soon to Earth on beams of starlight. Who knows where we might land? On Sunday Street or on desert sand. In our dreams we can fly, anywhere that we want to. All we need is to want to know. In our hearts there's a key that will open the doorway, and the key to the doorway is That is a freaking fantastic theme song. Cinema Kid Productions mainly released educational children's programming involving puppetry. None of this material was particularly high budget or stirring with thought-provoking plots, but easy direct-to-video releases. They focus not only on puppetry, but educational-based programming specializing in history and science. That doesn't mean it has to be good, though. And with Magic Star Traveler, it is a 3-video series, with each video cassette running 1 hour long, containing 3 episodes each. It is an educational show taking place partially in space, partially on Earth, exploring the environment and the inhabitants of the planet Earth in a fun, interactive way. It is aimed at children aged 7 to 11 and was made sometime in between 1978 and 1986, but I'm just going to go with 1986 because that's when the VHSs were released. Only 3 of the potential 9 20-minute episodes exist in an easily accessible manner on the interwebs, which at first I was quite disappointed in, and I was really thinking about purchasing one of the few VHSs available online so I could watch all the episodes in their entirety. But after watching the 3 available episodes on YouTube and the Internet Archive, I decided that the lack of availability was a blessing in disguise. So, let's start with the first available episode from Volume 1 of Magic Star Traveler.
Oh, I'm way in a hurry.
Hey, who are you?
Why, I'm Imagination.
Oh, imagine that.
So where you headed, my starry-eyed friend?
We're on our way to Earth.
Oh, but you'll need my help for that.
Oh, they did indeed, for they would need earthly frames and special names.
Well, how about that? I'm Solar. I'm Moonshine.
I'm Luster. Thanks, Imagination.
Always keep your eyes and ears open to all that lies ahead. If you don't, if you judge unfairly, you'll end up nowhere. And believe me, that's nowhere to be.
So yeah, the audio and visual in these clips leaves a little to be desired, so I hope you caught all of that. 3 little lights heading to Earth are given more acceptable Earth forms by Imagination, a lady who lives on the moon. Now that they are no longer little beams of light, they can adventure to Earth and observe it in their ship, the Magic Star Traveler. Because a human, a ventriloquist dummy, and a felt dog would very much blend into society while riding aboard their hovercraft. After that fine opening tune, it's time to introduce our topic of this episode.
Well, what's the matter with you? I was running. Yeah, that's probably why you're puffing. So that's a good way to get into this next animal that we're going to see. Well, it's not an animal, it's a bird. And it's called a puffin. A puffin. Yeah. You want to tell them? We're going to see a puffin. They don't know what it is. It's a bird, and, well, it's kind of sort of called a sea parrot. A sea parrot, yeah, water parrot. Yeah. And it's very pretty. It's kind of like the clown of birds because it's got a funny face and colors. You want to see it? Yeah. You guys want to see it? They want to see it. Let's go see it. I'm going to go.
Of course, in a show based on the exploration of Earth from space travelers, the first thing I would want in its debut episode is a thorough look at puffins. Now, I'm not unhappy about this. Puffins are fantastic, and I like them as much as the next guy, but it's certainly an interesting choice for a first episode in a show called Magic Star Traveler. The content, though, is not the problem. A puffin episode sounds fantastic. Let's do it. But the main problem, you shall see soon, is kind of an amalgamation of everything. Time for our Magic Star Travelers to go down to Earth and learn about the cutest little water parrots, puffins.
Flyers, aren't they? They don't really fly as good as some birds we've seen. Coming in for a landing. Pilot to co-pilot. Onto the rocks. 1, 2, come on
We
down.
are greeted with stock footage of puffins, with Captain Solar narrating above, spitting out some real fun puffin facts. The Magic Star Traveler flies over the stock footage, although, we don't really need to see it flying over the footage. You know what this reminds me of? Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's a show about a janitor who is sent up to space by 2 mad scientists, and he has to watch crappy movies while they monitor his mind, and he makes these little robot friends out of parts of the ship that are there to watch the crappy movies with him. It's a great show. I've seen every single episode. Except, unfortunately, Magic Star Traveler is, serious.
They wouldn't have survived, but they don't have any natural enemies. The big birds leave them alone, so it doesn't matter if they don't fly all that well. And you know what kind of feet they have? Well, they're kind of like ducks. They're probably webbed feet. Webbed feet is right. Yeah, maybe we'll see them a little bit later.
It also predates MST3K by 3 years. Also, the puppetry. What is happening, Jerry? Did you forget how to be a puppeteer, Jerry? There's no way this is the same Jerry Lane from that Police Squad episode I was obsessed with. There's no way this is Puppet People Jerry Lane. There is no way this is experienced ventriloquist performer Jerry. This is a fraud. This is a different Jerry. What have you done with Jerry? Why did you take Jerry away?
Like ducks. They're probably webbed feet. Webbed feet is right. Yeah, maybe we'll see them a little bit later. because, you know, that's what ducks have, is webbed feet. It helps them swim, and that's what they are. They are really sort of ducks. They're not really ducks, but they're sort of ducks. They're sort of ducks. No, real ducks, no. That's sort of ducks. Yeah. Sort of like miniature penguins, and they walk funny, yeah.
Anyways, we're talking about puffins, and I really want to tell you some sort of plot that's happening here, but there isn't one. There's not a plot. There's no conflict. There's no resolution. There's just puffins and a dude on a flying thing with 2 ventriloquist puppets. Let's listen to some more puffin commentary.
Strange faces. And look at the beak. See, that beak looks out of place, too. It looks like it's too big for their face. And they groom and clean their feathers like that, yeah. They groom and clean them, yeah. Or clean and green them, or either way, yeah.
So, what have we learned so far? Puffins come on land to mate, spend most of the time in the sea, have no major predators, and are... We are 5 minutes into this episode. It feels like it's been 98 years. This is awful. In a whole new way I haven't experienced before. It could be good. It's so close to being good. But all the pieces are just not fitting into place. Even when I like watching the puffins fly about and I'm brought into a nice relaxing trance, the frickin' magic star traveler is always on the screen flipping around and it's so annoying. Okay. We are on episode 1. Maybe it'll get better. Some sort of uplifting, interesting bit. Maybe a fun plot twist where it becomes a super serious show suddenly. Maybe this was the first episode they filmed and they're still figuring it out. Yeah, that's it. I'm sure it'll get better.
They care for each other. They show affection for each other. They stay together. They don't go separately. There's a baby. So, and that's how the baby looks like before it grows up and looks like mommy. That's right, exactly. And they like their fish. They like fish. Do you guys like fish? I like fish, but I especially like, yes, popcorn. A dog likes popcorn? Yeah.
There's parts in this episode where it appears Jerry isn't even trying to be a ventriloquist anymore. His mouth is just moving right along with luster and moonshine. The dialogue happening with imagination during segments between our stock footage adventures cannot possibly be scripted. Jerry looks like he's trying so hard to be funny, but is failing without a live audience. He's trying. He's doing his best. This is one of those situations where I feel like I could probably have done better. And I'm not a ventriloquist. Imagination swoops in every once in a while, and they have these segments with her where she tells them more fun facts. She really isn't needed at all, though. There's also many times where she shows up and she doesn't have any fun facts.
Swim, they can't walk. All they can do is kind of sit there.
Then how long after that do they go into the water?
Well, Mom forces them to go into the water and learn how to do things.
Well, why does she stuff them that much then?
Because it's hard for them. They have to have time to learn how to do stuff. So when she knows that, and it's kind of a training period.
Oh, that's very interesting. What else do you know about the babies?
Let me think. Well...
You want to come back next week with an expert?
No, I want to think. I'm going to have to refer to my encyclopedias, but I'll be right back.
Okay, so long.
Bye.
See ya. Thanks, Madge. See you, kiddo.
We have better versions of this type of show. Just put on a David Attenborough anything. At least he creates a riveting plot because he is not only a biologist and nature historian, but a professional broadcaster. And Jerry is not any of those things. Jerry is saying the same one fun fact he probably read in a book a long time ago about puffins over and over for 20 minutes while stuttering and fighting for his life to get any words out. Jerry tries to whip out some sort of plot about mother puffins feeding their young, and then they all head out to sea in the end, and we head back to the Magic Star Traveler for everyone to say goodbye, and the credits roll.
Do you think imagination could do that? Imagination, can you swim?
I can swim like a puffin.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We got to go now, too. So we'll see you all next time. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
And that's the first episode. We made it. We made it through episode 1. I certainly hope in the next episode we explore something with a little more chutzpah than the last. Something with a clearer plot, less stuttering, and maybe a more detailed understanding of the subject matter. Let's see what episode 2 of Volume 1 has to offer.
Oh, wow, here we are, another trip.
I wasn't sure we were going to make this one. Well, we did, and we're ready to go. Yeah, wow. Where are we going? Yeah, where are we going this time? What? Oh, hello out there. Oh, hi, guys. I didn't know you were out there. Where are we going?
Today, we're going to visit something very special.
Yeah.
We're going to visit storks.
Oh, we're going to watch them bring babies.
No, we're going to watch them bring stork babies.
Huh?
Well, there's a lot of myths about storks, but we're going to see about that now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're going to go to Europe, and we're going to visit some storks. Oh, listen, this is Stork and the rest of the kids. Ready?
Here we go.
Storks. We're gonna watch some storks for 23 minutes. Storks. Once again, I like storks just as much as the next person, but judging by how the Puffin episode went, I don't know how this storks episode's gonna go. Maybe next time we can pick a non-bird animal? Well, let's watch it.
In fact, they fly better than fish.
Except for the flying fish. Or the flying nun.
Oh, never mind. Storks love to live in busy villages and cities, and instead of making their nests a lot in trees the way most birds do, they like to make them on man-made objects like buildings and churches. In fact, they like church bell towers a great deal.
Don't they say that they have the ringing in their ears that way?
No, I guess it doesn't bother them. They like it there.
Hey, watch the way he's slapping. You were too close to him. There you go.
Yeah, we better be careful. We come too close to those big wings and we might get hurt.
While we're watching this, I just have to say that I've never been at a complete loss for words on my channel. I've never been so flabbergasted that I have nothing to say. I don't know what to do. There's not a thought in my brain, only storks, snorks, snoogle, snoogie, sloogle, loogie.
In fact, a lot of people encourage their storks to build homes up there. They start building nests for them so that they will encourage the birds to be there.
You know, the amazing thing was that the birds are the closest thing to reptiles on the prehistoric times. And yet, the storks are loved by everybody, just like regular birds are. Yeah, and yet the prehistoric monsters were all yucky.
That's right.
I also don't know if you've noticed, but this episode doesn't really have any music. And the lack of music is almost mind-numbing. I think they forgot to put in background music. The first episode definitely had it. The pauses feel like hours between each sentence when Jerry is thinking of a line, and you can hear Jerry swallowing and smacking his lips. Holy moly.
There, isn't it? Yeah. You know what? They know just when to start making their nest, and they make their nest during the time when they get there, but they don't start mating until it gets warmer.
And that's when they hatch their eggs?
Well, that's when they lay them, and then they sit on them and hatch them. Oh. And you know, the amazing thing is where some birds just fly around, they have one mate for life. Once they decide to mate, that's it.
They set up housekeeping together.
Yes.
There's a family.
Well, there's a mommy and daddy, but they don't have any babies yet.
So that's just a male and female.
Very good. Thank you. What'd you have to do with it?
Nothing. I just thought I'd say thank you.
Somehow, for being an educational program, I feel like I am becoming dumber watching this. No ideas are strung together, incoherent ranting, absolute chaos. As the episode goes on, Jerry begins to lose grasp on character voices, and all the three of the lead characters end up sounding exactly the same. Imagination shows up with absolutely nothing to add again, and we start to have some sort of plot where they're thinking about firing Imagination. I don't even know.
You're in a rut, kid.
I know. I've hung up my tutu.
Yeah, why did you do that?
And I've put away my toe shoes. And you're going to have to find yourself a new Imagination.
No, we don't want to find a new one. We like you even if you are a dingbat.
I'm not a dingbat. I just don't always have the right information for you. I get so flustered. And then sometimes I don't know what to do, and then you call me a dingbat, and I think I failed you, Lester.
You never fail us. We like calling you a ding. We only call you that because we love you. If we didn't like you, we would never say those things to you. We would just totally ignore you. But we always call you when we need you, even if you don't always have the information.
I know. Well, I'm going to have to think about it, but my tutu stays up there till I've made a decision.
But don't worry, everything gets resolved in the end, and Imagination does not go to pursue other jobs. And there's some crazy jokes near the end of the episode.
Right.
Uh-huh.
We'll get you another tutu.
Another tutu?
But a smaller one.
A smaller one?
Yeah, it's a 1-1.
Okay, you made me so happy. I want to give you kisses and hugs.
How about just sending us a postcard?
A postcard? How about if I always give you good information?
That's it. Good information all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
See you, kiddo.
Bye.
And then our 3 Magic Star travelers say bye to the viewer, and they fly away. That's the end of the 2nd episode. So things aren't getting any better. But they can't get any worse, can they?
Okay, here we are. We're ready to go. But where are we going to go today?
Well, guys, today we have a very special trip to go on.
You want to try that again, Jerry?
Because we're going to do something different.
Yeah?
We're going to go back, 5 billion years in time.
5 billion years.
Being Magic Star travelers and having imagination with us makes it possible for us to do that. And we have our little spaceship, so we can't get hurt or anything. And we're going to go back 5 billion years to see how Earth began and how life started on Earth. And then, because we're Magic Space travelers, we'll be able to go all the way from the beginning of time to today.
Wow. Are you ready? Hey, let's hold on to our seatbelts. We're going to go through 5 million years. 5 billion years. Yeah, 5 billion years in only a short time. Ready? Hold on.
So Volume 2 is not online. It apparently has an episode about camels, and another with giraffes, and I may someday buy this VHS from eBay, which states in the description, fine. Viewed a few times. A few times is a few times too many, my friend, but good for you. So let's skip to the final available episode, a truly groundbreaking finale to the Magic Star Traveler, something that will very much change my opinion of the show for the better, I hope. Let's go!
And it's supercharged with steam and gases. And they kind of shot out at about 35 miles an hour sometimes.
That's really hot, isn't it? Yeah.
It looks like we're watching fireworks, doesn't it? But we're not. That's what's coming out of the center of the Earth.
Wow. Where are all the dogs?
There are no dogs. There's nothing living on Earth yet.
Not even dinosaurs and prehistoric monsters?
Nothing. There's nothing down there but land and volcanoes and the molten lava coming out and shooting up at 2,300 degrees. That's all there was when Earth began.
Wow.
And you know who was there?
Who?
We weren't there, no. And there weren't people around, no. And there wasn't anybody or animals or anything that we know on Earth today.
No, nothing was there.
Except for
imagination?
Right, imagination was there. So why don't we have imagination come with us, and maybe she can tell us about the parts of the trip we don't know about.
Hey, imagination, are you there?
Yes.
Were you there at this time?
Well, yes, I was, but I didn't want you to know
You know what?
how old I really am.
You look pretty good for your age. That was 5 million, billion, trillion, zillion years ago. And you don't look more than, 500,000 years old.
Well, thank you. I find that quite a compliment.
We encounter some smoke coming out of the water caused by a volcano, narrated over by Jerry, who is still struggling with his lines, although I don't know if he's improvising them. Like, give him a piece of paper when he's doing the voiceovers. Like, let him read something. He needs all the help he can get. It really does sound like someone just played some stock footage in front of him and was like, all right, go for it, Jerry. Just do it. Do your best. You can do it, buddy. And then he did his best, and they were like, yeah, that's good. It's only going onto video cassette anyways. People won't remember this in 40 years. Except for me. I'll remember it.
The Earth, it's bubbling all over and then cooling off, and when it cools off, it settles down, just like the soups.
Oh.
See, the Earth is going through hot changes, cold, hot, cold.
The Earth was playing hot and cold.
Yes, it was.
You change your mind like a girl changes clothes.
Now, hey, wait a second. Now it's snow. Before it's hot. That's dumb. This Earth is dumb. First it's hot, then it's cold, then it's hot, then it's cold. Dumb, dumb, dumb.
And imagination shows up with some useless words. I don't know why we have this bit in here.
But I have to explain to you about all living things, because Earth is a living thing. You see, when children grow up, they change. Well, Earth is the same way, and as it gets older, it also changes. So in the beginning, it may be one way, and then it changes, just like people do, and plants do, and doggies do, and everything else that lives.
Riveting stuff, imagination. And back we go to more stock footage of the Earth forming, although it's just modern-day stock footage. We see the formation of glaciers and the beginning of the Ice Age, skipping over any acknowledgement of any living beings on the planet, as we do not have stock footage of dinosaurs, unfortunately. Every once in a while, we intersect the riveting stock footage with Jerry and the puppets talking about absolutely nothing.
And so that's how the Earth began. First it was molten lava and very, very hot. And then it was Ice Age and very, very cold. That's right. And finally it began to settle down. And when it began to settle down, we'll see what goes on then. And we'll settle down in just a minute or two. So, are you ready now to take a little trip? And then when we come back, we'll see how the Earth was. Hey, this is fascinating, how we can see all these things happen thousands of years, millions of years, billions of years ago. And you stay with us and see it, because this is really interesting. I'm not going to move from this spot. We're going to go. I'll move.
And then we stare at some more stock footage. More stock footage. Nothing is happening. Imagination pops back up to talk about what would happen if it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, just like Noah in the Ark.
Yeah.
Lester,
Yeah.
maybe it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. What do you think of that?
40 days and... Wait a second. Isn't that the story about Noah when it rained 40 days and 40 nights?
You know what I think, though?
Yeah?
I think maybe then, because everything was so different than it is now, that days and nights were different than what we know days and nights as. And maybe a day was a whole year.
You think
Then-
so?
But I'm not always sure, but maybe that could be it. Maybe that's why it rained so much.
But I thought she'd been around since the dawn of time, so wouldn't she know the answer to that? Oh man, she's useless. Now, I was not expecting the Bible to make an appearance in the science-based evolution-centric puppet program, but I'm not surprised at anything at this point. Let me be real with you for a moment. I am 8 minutes into this final episode. I'm not sure if I can do it. But you know what might help? A lovely alcoholic beverage. Ugh. Yeah. Sorry. I don't really drink that many alcoholic beverages. I hope you enjoy this audio of me drinking. Alright, let's make it through the rest of Magic Star Traveler.
And it's a process that began 2 billion years ago. That's a long time. And it's still standing. The Grand Canyon, absolutely. And then the rains came. And it's gonna rain. Yep, it's gonna rain. Oh, it's gonna rain. Yes, it's gonna rain. I think that's enough of that. Thank you.
Weirdly enough, after the Ice Age footage ends, Jerry explains that life has finally begun. Although, I could have sworn that life existed before the Ice Age. Am I wrong? Is this wrong? As you can see, there is zero consistency with the storyline again. And no matter how much alcohol I consume, there's no making sense of this.
All right, now that we've cleared that up, let's see where we are in the evolution of Earth and man and animals now. Now, there's a koala bear among all the other animals who are evolving.
I love that a koala is their first example of a modern-day animal. So we just stare at some more stock footage while Jerry does his best to make some jokes, and then there's a little debrief of what we learned at the end.
Present time now. Well, here we are to the present time. Wow, that was some trip. How'd you like to see? How did you like seeing? Oh, you're so excited you can't control yourself. Yeah. How'd you like seeing the beginning of Earth? I never understood that it grew like that. That it was the molten lava, and then the Ice Age, and then the flowers and the branches, and then the fish, and then the large animals. And we'll come back and see more about the beginnings of Earth another time. Bye, everybody. Come see it again. This is really interesting.
The end. We've made it to the end of the episode. And speaking of debriefing, let's talk about what we've witnessed here. The concept of the show was good, but it just fails so hard in the execution of it. The theme song sets up the show so well. It looks like we're going to be deep diving into different cultures around the world, but that's not what happens at all. It's mind-boggling how half-assed this is. I just have to say that ventriloquism is also a very detail-oriented form of puppetry, requiring lots of skill and precision. Not only do you have to create the illusion that a puppet is talking without moving your mouth, you usually make up a voice for that puppet to sound different than your voice, and that puppet must remain alive when it's not in use, because the audience can still see it when you, your human self, are talking. Somehow, Jerry Lane, a notable and professional ventriloquist, fails at the very basic ventriloquism methods in the show. Jerry is putting 110% of his effort into throwing his voice into these puppets, but not actually animating them very well. And also, Luster is always turning his head to look at Jerry, but we can't see him. We can't see Luster's face. Also, Moonshine, who, great name by the way, the dog, is so unnecessary. We don't need Moonshine. I think Jerry is trying to impress us with his skills, hey, I can control 2 different puppets at once, but he just doesn't have that skill set. 1 puppet would have been fine, which, although it is kind of surprising at this point in his career, he'd been building and performing puppets for at least 30 years, and he was trained by Paul Winchell, and he's really struggling. Well, maybe Jerry knew that he didn't do very well, because holy crap, this is really hard to find. This is the first educational show I watched that I felt like I was losing brain cells. My IQ dropped at least 5 points. It's bad. It's so bad. Don't even watch it. Don't do it, or you'll end up like me. The script, if it even actually existed, is not great. I feel like the actors are improvising the whole time, but they're not very good at improv. The concept is fun. The execution is flawed. I'm never sure how serious it's taking itself. There's weird adult jokes. It feels almost dirty sometimes, and I don't know how to react to a lot of the things that are happening. Oftentimes, the more I watch something, the more I appreciate it. But with Magic Star Traveler, I hated it more and more each time. But each time, I also appreciated Jerry Lane's hair more and more. After Magic Star Traveler, Jerry Lane built puppets for stage and television, and they can be found all over the world. He passed away in 2018, leaving behind a legacy mostly through his physical creations, as his filmed ones are harder to come by. I would highly recommend his Police Squad episode. He plays an evil version of himself.
Hold her right there, Rivers.
Who are you?
My name is Jerry Lane. This is Lester. We came here before you wouldn't even watch our act. Well, now I'm going to force you to give us an audition. Sit down, both of you.
It's great. He's an absolute cutie patootie, an unattainable cutie patootie because he is a dead patootie now. In conclusion, is this the worst of the obscure puppet media I have seen thus far? Yes. There is nothing about this that makes me want to watch it again other than admiring Jerry's very fluffy hair and massive glasses. It took me weeks to watch the 3 available 20-minute episodes. So this ends our 3rd episode of The Worst of the Obscure. I hope you enjoyed my arduous journey into the horrifically bad. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video, and leave a comment about the worst puppet show you've ever seen. Feel free to email me with any suggestions or comments at jettmcplane@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at jettmcplane. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. You are so very special, just the way you are. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.